You're listening to The Gary Harris Show on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
Earn 1.5% cash back purchases with the Capital One Quicksilver Card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
The Gary Harris Show. You see him host Tider Insider TV, Crimson Tide Kickoff, play-by-play for Alabama sports, and sports director for WVUA 23. It's time for The Gary Harris Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Gary Harris Show for this Monday, November 25th, 2024. I'm your host, Gary Harris. Chase Brumfeld is manning the controls, taking your phone calls on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline at 205-342-9904. And obviously, Alabama football will dominate the conversation today, and it's not all good, that's for sure. It's Iron Bowl week, and Alabama will host Auburn on Saturday afternoon shortly after 2:30. On ABC at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And not as much on the line for this game in terms of the big picture as we would have hoped for Alabama, but there's still a lot on the line, believe me. When I tell you that as bad as it is right now for Alabama football, if the Tide does not win that game on Saturday afternoon, it's going to be a lot worse. You can take that to the bank. But Alabama is not in the spot that we thought that it would be on this Monday, and more on that obviously coming up. But first, this hour of the Gary Harris Show being brought to you, as always, by Alabama Credit Union. Member-owned and not-for-profit. It's really just a better way of banking. I encourage you to find out more at alabamacu.com. That's alabamacu.com. Alabama Credit Union, loans for real life. Some rules and restrictions do apply. See if you're eligible for membership. Then join today and feel good about your money. And put a little extra change in your pocket. All right, you hear my voice? I have, since late last week, been dealing with a bad cold, so just bear with me. I'm stopped up and stuffed up, or whatever you want to refer to it as, again this morning. But going to be fine. Going to get through it. Just don't sound obviously as clear as I would like to. But let's just dive right in. There's not much really that I can say. If you watched the game, if you saw the game, then you know what happened. Alabama had a very, very, very poor performance in Norman, Oklahoma on Saturday evening, getting beat 24-3, held without a touchdown. Had one touchdown call back that was an absolutely brutal call. They called Ryan Williams for being covered up on the line of scrimmage. He was not. Then they called him for illegal touching because they said he was ineligible because he was covered up, which he wasn't. That may not have changed the final outcome of the game, but it would have made it 24-10, and you never know what would have happened. And plus, you took away an absolutely incredible catch by one of the most electric players in college football. He didn't deserve that. He deserved to have that touchdown. And it speaks again to a bigger picture of how bad the officiating is in the Southeastern Conference. And the Southeastern Conference office just continues to deny that, continues to say that it's good. And every week we see examples of that's not the case. And I wanted to start with that because of the fact that Ryan Williams deserved that touchdown. He made a great play. And to have it taken away by an official's gaffe, by just an absolutely ridiculous, stupid call that won't matter. That crew will be right back out here calling a game on Saturday, like all these crews are when they botch something. There's no accountability, or doesn't appear to be, as far as the SEC officials are concerned. But it doesn't change the fact that Alabama played a miserable football game. We're absolutely terrible in really all phases of the game, primarily on offense, where they managed only 234 total yards, only 70 yards rushing. Jalen Milroe played his worst game, I think, of his career. But the offensive line didn't play well. Nobody played well. Defensively, they gave up quarterback runs to Jackson Arnold, who's not known for his running. And in the first half, Oklahoma just ran the same play over and over and continued to get yards. They rushed for 257 yards, 206 of those yards in the first half. They didn't have to do much on offense in the second half because their defense scored one touchdown on a pick six and set up another touchdown with another interception on the opening possession of the third quarter when it was just a 10-3 game. And brings up a lot of questions about this program right now under Kalen DeBoer's leadership and how this late in the season, after you had losses to Tennessee and Vanderbilt on the road, and those were disappointing, but you thought you had gotten past that. And really, to be honest with you, outside of the fact that you had two losses on the road that were disappointing, they didn't really cost you. Going into that Oklahoma game, everything was still right there. 2 wins away from college football playoff berth, and more than likely, and 2 wins away from playing in the SEC championship game because Missouri beat Mississippi State. So an Alabama win over Oklahoma and an Alabama win over Auburn would have put the Crimson Tide in the SEC championship game. So you had everything to play for, everything right in front of you. And to have a performance like that, it's a head scratcher. And coach speak won't get it this time, Coach DeBoer. Coming in the post-game press conference and saying, we got to do better. And then today in the press conference, nobody wants to hear it now. They want to see the proof in the pudding. Your 2-touchdown favorite, and give Oklahoma credit. And I said I said all last week that if Alabama wasn't ready to play, this could happen. But still, they were 1-5 in the SEC. Proud program, a lot of tradition, a lot of history, bye week, all that. We're ready to go. I get it. But still, they were a 5-loss team in the SEC. 1-5. Their only win at Auburn, in a very unlikely win in that, they probably should have lost that game. So there's not really, again, much to say. Everybody that watched the game saw what happened. And there's a lot of discussion about should have Milroe been taken out of the game. He came out for one play when he got banged up and then went right back in. I'll be honest with you. I thought after the pick six, which was his fault, it was a horrible throw, horrible decision. And the first interception, I don't really blame him. For whatever reason, Nick Sheridan is obsessed with this wide receiver screen, trying to get numbers out on the edge. Has it worked all year? Has it gone for a big gain yet? And Oklahoma, say what you want about Brent Venables as a head coach, we know what kind of defensive coordinator he is. We saw it firsthand when he was with Clemson. And that quarterback jumped the route. They knew exactly what was coming, and it was not executed correctly. But the second interception was just a poor decision, a poor throw. I thought, yeah, maybe bring him out for a series. Bring in Ty Simpson. But DeBoer said after the game that, and we'll have that audio for you. Coach DeBoer said after the game that he liked what he saw when he looked in Jalen Milroe's eyes. And there's a lot of discussion, of course, about on that pick six, Jalen Milroe's attempted a tackle where he basically just tried to trip the guy, didn't put very much effort in to trying to make the play. And I don't know. I'm with most of you on that. I thought that as big and strong as Jalen Milroe is, in that situation, you've got to make more of an attempt at tackle, because if you get the guy down, who knows if they score a touchdown there. So there's a lot of things to look at, but in the end, Oklahoma only scored 2 offensive touchdowns, and one of them was set up on a very short field. They scored a defensive touchdown, but Alabama got beat 24-3. And I know the phone calls are coming in on the Pinnacle Park at North River hotline at 205-342-9904. We're going to get to them in the next segment, but I wanted to go ahead and address this in the opening part of the show. Rodney Orr's coming up with more on the Crimson Tide at 9:30. Casey Smith on golf at 10:30. We'll have the Kalen DeBoer press conference from out in Norman for you. I just sent that to Chase. We'll have that for you this morning. But let's go ahead and get to our break, because we've got Cole on the line. We've got Philip on the line. I'm sure that we're going to get more calls at 205-342-9904. So this is the Gary Harris Show on a very, very, very unusual Monday before the Iron Bowl. There haven't been many like this in a long time, where Alabama's not playing for a spot in the SEC championship game. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are still saying Alabama, because of all the crazy games on Saturday, still has a chance to get in the playoff. Maybe they do, okay? Maybe if they win and a bunch of weird things happen. But why would anybody even be thinking about the playoff right now? You got to be thinking about one thing, and that's winning the Iron Bowl. Because I guarantee you this, they're not going to be a playoff without a win in that game. And Auburn's coming off a huge 4-overtime win over A&M. I don't know why. I put out something on social media last night about now all Alabama needs to be focused on is the Iron Bowl, because there's no shot for Atlanta, which there isn't. They've been ruled out of a SEC championship game. And there's no shot at the playoff. And people were quick to run out there and correct, we still get in the playoff. Well, you won't get in the playoff if you don't beat Auburn. If you don't play better than you play Saturday night, you won't beat Auburn. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll get the phone calls in the next segment of the Gary Harris right here on Tide 100.9 FM and 1230 AM WTBC. We'll be right back.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Monday morning. 2 more Habitat for Humanity homes are being made available in Tuscaloosa. These will honor Nick and Terry Sabin, who have been very active in the Habitat for Humanity program. The dedication ceremony will take place in Milestone Circle at 10 a.m. The new owners will be moving in before
tonight, live from Walk On Sports Bistro for Hillcrest Huddle. That's Brent Jones each week as the Hillcrest Patriots march towards the playoffs.
As much as Innisfree has evolved, it will always be that place to escape and have a good time. Whether it's for a game day weekend, to reminisce on college days, or to create new memories, if you're looking for a good time, there's only one thing to do. Head to the Free at 1925 University Boulevard. And don't forget about the Lucky Lunch Meat and 3 special. Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m., get a meat and 3 vegetables for just $8.49. Or for a lighter appetite, try the Lucky Lunch soup, salad, or sandwich combo. I'll see you at the Free.
Tuscaloosa's Old Colony Golf Course is an 18-hole championship layout designed by 1976 U.S. Open champion Jerry Pate. Director of Golf John Gray and fitting specialist Bob Montgomery are PGA certified. Mike Shivitz is the head professional and director of the Tuscaloosa Junior Golf Program. Call today to secure a tee time at the Tuscaloosa Championship Golf Course. Everyone can play. 205-562-3201. Old Colony is operated by Para.
Life doesn't wait for when your finances are in perfect order. It just happens. But no matter what surprises come your way, Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans, mortgages, and auto loans. They offer an easy application process and fast decisions so you can stay focused on feeling good about whatever life brings your way. Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans, mortgages.
Remember M for money and Mesrano.
If it has a logo on it, call me. 205-800-8000.
Since 2011, Billy's Sports Grill, located on Main Avenue in historic downtown Northport, has been serving their legendary signature chicken sandwich, award-winning wings, and handcrafted cocktails. Billy's is also the spot to watch all your favorite sporting events with big screen, high-definition televisions in both dining rooms, at the bar, and outside on the beautiful patio. Come by and say hello to Kim and Lisa, the Billy's management dream team. Billy's, good food, good friends, and good time.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A nice warm up today. The sky partly sunny, the high 72. Becoming cloudy tonight. A good chance of showers, especially after midnight, the low 52. Tomorrow, showers ending during the morning. We could see some clearing by afternoon, the high 61. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 61 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
You're listening to The Gary Harris Show.
Goal line in, touchdown, Alabama.
On your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9. And streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, 9:19. Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show. We got phone calls lined up. We're about to get to them. Cowboy already texted me, though, about quit crying about the officiating. We got beat. I was there. Obviously, I just got through spending 10 minutes talking about how Alabama got beat. Not crying about anything. I'm pointing out a fact. The fact is Ryan Williams made a great individual play and did not get rewarded for it. Whether that would have changed the outcome of the game doesn't have anything to do with the fact that he made a great play and got robbed of it by a pathetic officiating mistake. Period. Both things can be true. Alabama could get whipped, which they did, and that terrible call, just a completely botched officiating call, cost Ryan Williams an incredible touchdown. He deserved that touchdown, regardless of what happened in the game. So that also is a fact. All right, let's get out on the phone calls. I think Cole is up first, and we'll hit him. We got the 3 on hold. Let's get to Cole. Good morning, Cole.
Good morning, Gary. Hey, this is what we got to do. With us being 13, we're not out of it yet. We got to beat Auburn. Beat Auburn. We'll see what happens. But
listen, I get that. Why is anybody even worried about the playoff? Worry about winning that game. Period. I don't even get this. Well, we may still be in the playoff. This team's coming off an embarrassing performance. I mean, I don't understand this obsession with, well, we may still be in the playoff, Cole. Who cares at this point? Just win the Iron Bowl. I mean, everybody's trying to draw up these scenarios where if A beats B and B beats C and C beats D, and just win the Iron Bowl, okay?
We got to turn the ball over.
Just win the Iron Bowl. I mean, I don't even. Like I said, I went out on social media and had the nerve to say that maybe Alabama's out of it, and people running back worrying about the playoff.
No,
I mean,
hey, the thing is, if Bama wins the Iron Bowl and they want the money, they'll keep Bama in there.
Well, maybe so.
If they want the money, Bama's in there. If they want the money, they'll keep Bama because Bama's going to pay. Bama pays that they go everywhere. They always spend it in the playoffs.
Well, I don't think they're going to be looking at it like that. But listen, if you win the Iron Bowl, who knows what might happen? But I don't. No, I'm really not in the mood to talk about a playoff. I might Jim Mora. Playoff?
We're not.
We're talking about the playoffs? I don't even understand that thinking. Hey, thank you, Cole. Let's get to Philip. Hey, good morning, Philip. How are you?
Hey, Gary, good feeling about it, man.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to say I'm in the group. I'm in the highly perturbed group. That's what I'm in, and I'm just looking at this as if it was. And it is a big business, but it affects the business plan for Alabama going forward by what happened the other night. It throws everything into disarray, and that set the program back Saturday night when the clock struck midnight. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not even thinking about the playoffs. I ain't even thought about Auburn that much as a fan. I'm just thinking about the future for Kalen DeBoer, because his lifespan at the University of Alabama won't last that long if this continuum keeps going on. And I'm hoping that things will turn around, starting with the Auburn game. That would be nice, and it would be highly recommended if it turns around, starting with the Auburn game. Because if it doesn't, that means he's lost to two of our fiercest rivals in his first year. And the first year is always a cautionary year for any new coach. I understand that. But perception is everything, and they did not give a good perception the other night. It was a terrible look. And, had they lost 24-23 and Oklahoma returned a kickback 98 yards to win the game, That's a little bit different from what I'm feeling today, but that was just not a good performance.
No, it was terrible. It was awful, and you're right. Here's the reality of it. If Alabama loses this game on Saturday, then Kalen DeBoer in one season will have lost to 3 unranked teams. I think Nick Saban lost to 3 unranked teams in 17 years. And if he loses that game on Saturday, he will have lost his fan base in one season. Now, that doesn't ultimately mean that he won't turn it around and get them back. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that in the short term, he will have come in one season and basically wiped out 17 years of Nick Saban's success if he loses this Iron Bowl at home. First of all, Saban only lost 1 Iron Bowl in Tuscaloosa, and that was the Cam back in 2010. So it would be your first loss to Auburn in 14 years at home. It would be your first loss to Auburn since 2019 in the Iron Bowl, and you will have lost your fan base. The confidence that the fans will have in this program and this head coach is going to be shot. So he's coaching for a lot on Saturday, to try to win 5 in a row, which Alabama hadn't won 4 in a row since Bryant until last year. So there's a lot on the line for him. I agree with you. And worrying about where you fit into the playoff, and worrying about what's going to happen in the portal, and worrying about what's going to happen with NIL, and worrying what's going to happen with opt-outs for the bowl game. I'm not worried about any of that. And if I'm Kalen DeBoer, my message to this football team is very simple. Give me 1 week. Give me 1 week. Buy in, lay it all on the line. Your legacy is tied to what happens in this game. Whether you grew up going for Alabama, whether you're going to be playing for Alabama after this game, none of that matters. Right now, you're part of the Alabama football program. And your legacy, you're going to be remembered for what happens in this game the rest of your life, good or bad. And if you can't appeal to that and get them ready to play in this game, then long term, you're probably not going to make it here as the head coach, because that's what this comes down to now. And it's just that simple. I mean, if I'm Kalen DeBoer, and because I don't know what's going to happen after this game. I don't know. You've got the signing date coming up. You've got the portal. I think December 9th, players can start getting in the portal. This football team may look completely different for the bowl game, but who cares? Give me 1 week. Give me this week. Buy in. Give me everything you got in that one game, and then we'll worry about everything. Right now, I'm not worried about recruiting. I'm not worried about who goes in the portal. I'm not worried about who goes in the draft. I'm not worried about who wants to renegotiate their NIL deal. All that's going to be put on the back burner. Hey, listen, and one thing that Nick Saban always had one against him, if you want to look at it like this, other than 2007 and 2010, he went into this Iron Bowl every week, every year, knowing that if they won, they had another game next week and had to play an SEC championship game. Kalen DeBoer didn't have to worry about that. There is no game after Saturday until the bowl game. You don't have to worry about playing in Atlanta. You can put everything you've got into this game, and that's what they need to do.
Yeah.
Well, so I agree with you. It's not nothing else right now is important other than winning the Iron Bowl. Hey, thank you, Philip. We're going to get to Bryce here before we hit the break. Good morning, Bryce.
Philip, if we play like we played last week, your team's going to beat us. And don't you think that Hugh Freeze and that team hadn't circled that game last year waiting for this? Especially as pathetic as we looked the other night. I saw 2 players that act like they wanted to be in Norman and play a football game, and that was number 2 and number 80. The rest of them was sleepwalking. I mean, if that was a poor excuse trying to tackle somebody on that pick 6. If I'd have been the coach, he would have left the game right then and there when he did that pathetic looking play. I had never been so, and I've been watching a lot of football. That's the worst performance I've seen out of Alabama team, and I don't remember when we scored 3 points last. If you're not going to win a football game with no effort and only scoring 3 points. I mean, to tell me why he didn't try something different, that I don't understand it. It is mind-boggling to me. He showed me at all no reason why he should have been in there still playing at the 3 pick and when I'm being a pick 6. I mean, and as far as the playoffs, that's the last thing we need to be worrying about. You better be worrying about Auburn because Auburn's coming for you. You know, if you play like that, you're going to get embarrassed by Auburn. And that's really going to make the season real bad. You got to have pride. And I ain't see nobody, like I said, 2 people had pride. You know, you still there, Gary?
Yeah, I'm listening to you. I'm just listening to everything that you're saying. Just agree? Got a lot going on. Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with most of what you said. It was an embarrassing performance. It was at this point in the season with what was on the line to go out there and to get handled like that. Although this is a different world in college football, it is week to week. I've been saying that all year. You know, Oklahoma and Auburn are both 1-5 SEC teams, and they both won on Saturday. You know, Auburn knocked off an A&M team that was, in prime position. It still could. If A&M wins on Saturday night against Texas, they still go to Atlanta. But they got beat. Hey, Alabama got beat. Having said that, one
last thing, Gary. Like I said, they've had Hugh Hefner Freeze has had this game circled since they got beat last year. You can't tell me he hasn't. You know, and he's waiting.
Well, you said Auburn was
chops how we've been playing.
Now you're worried about them winning the game. All I've heard from you all year was Auburn was terrible. Now you're saying they're going to come in here and win.
Well, I didn't know we was going to play like. Hey, you know me. If I'm wrong, I pony up.
I don't know. They need to get ready to play. Hey, thank you. Great call there.
They're gonna get embarrassed at home by Auburn.
Well, maybe they won't.
All right, let's
get Cam before we have to close out the segment. Good morning, Cam.
Hey, Governor, man, feel better. You sound like how I feel today, man. But another day, it's going to come up, man. Hey, man, how much is DeBoer's buyout? Is it how much is it?
I don't know. It'd be a lot, I'm sure.
Okay. Do you have Lane Kiffin's phone number by any chance? I'm just asking for a friend. Hey, man, question. I don't want to go to the playoffs. That would be embarrassing. I'm already embarrassed enough living in North Georgia, and then my neighbors walking by and pointing and giggling and stuff. But I don't want to go to the playoffs. We would get embarrassed. This bowl we're going to go to, who are we going to go against? And the playbook is Vandy figured out the playbook by Vandy everybody's going to use. They're going to spy Milroe. And here's a question for you. Who starts quarterback Saturday night? Coach Gary, who's our quarterback Saturday night?
Well, he's going to start Jalen Milroe. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Is Milroe coming back next year, in your opinion?
I don't know. Listen, as I said earlier in the show, I'm not worried about next year. I'm not.
Yeah, touche. That's fair. My wife was like, why not just get next year's season going, because this season's already washed for our traditional expectations. I'm like, that's fair. I'll ask Gary.
It's not washed. I mean, it's not washed. You need to put everything you've got in trying to win this game. That's it. I mean, this season's not a wash. It maybe is big picture, but lose this game, and it's going to get
lose to the Cal College. It's going to be a whole lot of hurt going on, man.
It's going to be winning this game in this Iron Bowl for 5 straight over Auburn is going to be a lot of sap on the wound. It may not undo this season, but it will be a good feeling on Saturday, and that's what they need to be playing for. Like I said, if I'm Alabama, I'm not worried. If I'm the coaching staff, I'm not worried about who's coming back next year. I'm not worried about the portal. I'm focused on one thing. If you can't get focused and ready to play this game on Saturday afternoon against your in-state rival, then you're not going to make it here. I'm sorry. If you can't get this team ready to play on Saturday, then it's not. None of this other stuff's going to matter. I mean, this is a huge game, and you can't sit here and tell me that it doesn't matter. It matters. And
that's true. Maybe he's just in over his head at the SEC, man.
I don't know. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is the focus right now needs to be winning on Saturday, and that's just the way it is. So, all right, thank you, Cam. Good to hear from you.
Here, Gary. Roll Tide, brother.
Yeah, man. Ronnie's had something come up. It's when it rains at 4s, I guess, and he's not going to be available for his next segment. So we're going to be able to continue to get phone calls in. I'm going to try to get him scheduled for later in the show. I'm trying to work it out right now. But he's not going to be available in the next segment. So we can keep the phone lines open on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline, let you sound off. We try to get all those calls squeezed in there, so I'm sorry I cut some of you short. But now that he's not available right now, we can call, you can call in and sound off, 205-342-9904. But I'm going to stand by what I've said, that this game coming up Saturday, first of all, the next game should always be the biggest game, period. It should always be the biggest game. But this is the Iron Bowl. And maybe Alabama fans have gotten spoiled, like I've said, under Nick Saban, where, you know, the Iron Bowl was still a big game, but you were just trying to get through it to get to the next game, to get to the SEC championship game, to get to the BCS championship game or the college football playoff. Well, now, you know, none of that is out there. And I'm going to focus and continue to focus on this game is what's important for Alabama football right now. And if they can't get themselves ready to play and this coaching staff can't get them rallied to play in this game for what it means, like I said, I'm 60 years old. So maybe the age gives me some perspective on this, in that there were a lot of years when this game was all there was to play for. You know, between Bryant and Saban, there were some years where there wasn't anything else on the line other than winning the Iron Bowl. And this game meant everything. And it needs to mean everything for this team this year. All right, it's 9:34. Let's get to the break. I'm going to try to reschedule Rodney Orr for later in the show. And maybe try to move Casey Smith up. Rodney needs to go at 10:30. So we'll see what we can do. But phone calls are welcome. The line is open at 205-342-9904 on the Pinnacle Park and North River hotline, and we'll be right back.
If you haven't already, you've got to try Tuscaloosa's unique breakfast, brunch, and lunch concept. Brick and Spoon, downtown Tuscaloosa, Timerson Square. It's fresh food with a Cajun flair featuring a full bar with build-your-own Bloody Marys and mimosas. Open daily, 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. Available for after-hours events, rehearsal dinners, receptions, and birthdays. They offer brunch and lunch catering. Call Brick and Spoon at 205-345-5551 for more information.
Los Tarascos has been serving Mexican favorites like burritos, fajitas, and quesadillas since 1999. Their new location is at 4100 Owen Parkway in Northport. And of course, you can find Los Tarascos in Tuscaloosa at 110 Skyland Boulevard. The bar areas feature big screen television so you can enjoy your favorite sporting events. Los Tarascos features daily happy hour.
Discover better living at First and Main. Visit firstandmaincondos.com or call 205-657-7465. Mention you heard about us on the radio and receive 1 month free rent.
Find Tide on Twitter at Tide109 to keep up with show announcements, guests, and our reporters in the field.
All right, 9:37 and a lot going on this morning. I'm not feeling well. I feel better than I sound. Let me say that. I feel better than I sound, but I'm not in studio today. And Rodney had a conflict, but now he just texted me and says he thinks he's ready to go. So let's Chase, do we have anybody on the line, on the phone lines? We're open right now, right?
Yeah, we have a couple callers.
All right, let's go ahead and take those callers. And I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do this with Rodney. Let's go ahead. Who have we? Let's see. Who have we got on the line?
Yeah, we have Jim, we have Curtis Moore II, Tony from Birmingham, and then we have Cowboy.
All right, let's just go ahead and take phone calls then, and we'll try to get Rodney. All right, let's start off with Jim.
Hey, you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Hey, what I did is just watch replays on YouTube of the election night results, cheer myself back up. So, and I told my friends, I told my friends several weeks ago, I said, if I got a choice, the candidate that I want to win, or Alabama winning the national championship this year, I want the candidate, okay, because that's going to be important for the next 4 years. So anyway, I'm going to stay on the bright side. And one other thing, you know, with all this NIL stuff and all, if the power goes back to the coach as far as, you know, players, you know, that, you know, threaten to transfer or spoil because they're getting $1 million, whatever. This is not that he should do it, but this is the week that the power goes back to them, because they can bench their seniors, you know, if they don't think they've been playing right, and not worry about them transferring because they don't have any more eligibility, you know. Now I think Jalen Milrose deserves to start, and he's been a good representative of the school. But just say he was one of them trouble type, players that just cause issues all the time. This would be the game you would bench him and say, we're moving on. I'm going to let my second string guy, maybe my starting quarterback next year, go ahead and start getting experience. So, but anyway, that's all I had to say.
Yeah, Jim, that's good thoughts, man. I don't. I see your point on that for sure. Thank you for the phone call. All right, let's get to Curtis, and then we'll get to Tony, and then we'll get to Cowboy. Hey, Curtis, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Gary. I know you got a long list. I ain't going to be long, man. Hey, just the one thing I had, man, and I ain't going to bring up playoffs. I'm not going to bring that up. But the one thing that I've been scratching my head throughout the season on is that Kalen DeBoer last season, in my opinion, had less talented players, and you see how far he got. I just don't understand why these Alabama players that are clearly more talented than what he had in Washington, how come we just can't get it together? I just don't understand the game plan. I'm talking about the coaching. I'm talking about the running back that they had for Washington last year is way less talented than what we have on hand with Haynes and Jan Miller. I don't understand. I know Grubb ain't there and things like that, but I mean, Sheridan was on that staff. I mean, last year.
Yeah, apples and oranges, though, Curtis. It really is. You're talking about different season, different team, different league, different dynamic, different quarterback. Maybe if this team has more pure talent, that Washington team still was very talented. Washington's wide receivers as a whole were better than this group of wide receivers. Outside of Ryan Williams, this wide receiving group has not proven to be explosive. So it's just a whole different scenario, and this is a different environment for him too. This is his first year in the SEC. It's his first year at Alabama. As we've talked about before, this coaching at this school and this conference is different probably than coaching just about anywhere else in America, and there's an adjustment period. So I think that it's just apples and oranges. He did a great job at Washington last year. They played for the national championship, but coming in here this year, I do think that it's been an adjustment for him, and I think that he's had to learn on the fly. Nothing prepares you for coaching at Alabama. I'm telling you. I've covered this program. There's nothing else that, not just on the field, but what you deal with off the field, with all the people pulling you in different directions. And anyway, it's just a whole different deal. So he's doing the best he can. I have no doubt about that. But this game Saturday is very important, I think, for both the short-term and long-term confidence that the fan base has in him. So Alabama needs to win the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, I still believe in the guy. I miss his first season, so I'm not ready to. Everyone's ready to can him and all that. I'm not going that far or whatever. But I mean,
well, that's not going to happen. So there's no reason for anybody to, if they want that, then they're going to be out of luck because that's not going to happen. So as I said, the best thing the fans could do is pull for a win on Saturday. And I know right now, because of how that game went Saturday night, people don't see it, but there'll be a good feeling about things if they win the Iron Bowl on Saturday. I promise you, things will look a lot brighter. So lose that game, and it's going to be awful, Curtis.
Yeah, it will be. Well, I ain't going to hold you up. I know you got a long list of folks. Take care, man. Roll Tide.
Thank you, Curtis. Okay, we've got, and we are going to, I've been trying to multitask like crazy. We're going to have Rodney Orr at 10:30, Casey Smith at 10:15. Right now, we're going to get to Tony from Birmingham, then Cowboy, then Super Joe. We may have to take a break here in a minute first, but let's go to Tony. Good morning.
Good morning, Gary. I guess the thing I want to say is I haven't not been in my adult life watching Alabama football ever said that I've been embarrassed 2 times in 1 year like I was Saturday night. When you have everything to play for, you have momentum off of the last 3 wins. Your defense has played better. Your offense has played better. Special teams was even better, punting wise. Now, he had a few shanks against Mercer, but everything was there for the taking. And, Gary, we show up and get beat by a team who's Quarterback was obviously struggling. Offensive line wasn't whole. Down every receiver they had. We got beat by a bunch of second and third string guys. And Gary, it wasn't a fluke. They ran up and down the field on Alabama. To throw 11 passes in a football game and we didn't make any adjustments, we were simply not prepared to play. And that's coaching, and that's players not playing hard when they're playing. The whole Milroe pick six thing, the fact that he's staring down receivers and not making any effort to make a tackle on that. And Gary, who knows if we hold him to a field goal, it could have been a different game. It could have been. Statistically speaking, and anybody can look this up. Now, there's obviously exceptions to the rule, but if you throw one pick six in a game, your average to lose that game is 91%. You throw two in one game, 99% you're going to lose the game. Now, if you up 38-0, you throw a pick six in the fourth, you're not going to lose. But I say that in a tight game, and it should have been two pick sixes. But we tackled the guy, whatever. But I don't understand, Gary. I've been around this game for a long time, coached it for a long time. I don't understand that. I don't know how you get that poor of a performance from a team that's got everything to play for. And I don't know if anybody's asked Kellen DeBoer. I would like to hear his answer. Why were we not prepared to play?
Well, he's got a press conference today. Maybe somebody will ask him then. I don't know. And I don't, I'm sure he'll say that he felt like they were prepared. He said after the game that they, that he thought they were ready to go. I mean, I hear you, Tony, and I agree with just pretty much everything you said. I mean, Alabama's been on the other end of this a lot more than they've been on this end of it. They've been the team that has busted some hopes and dreams, and the other fan bases have had to deal with this. But you're right. Saturday night, Alabama was on the wrong end of just getting thumped. I'm getting embarrassed. I'm not showing the type of fight and effort that you expect from Alabama, and it's not something that we're accustomed to around here very much, and it's hard to deal with. And I agree with you; it's frustrating. But I think you'll agree with me too that it's going to be worse if you don't win this game on Saturday afternoon.
Absolutely.
So you've got to be able to put it in the rearview mirror. And as I said, if this coaching staff is worth its salt, they'll be able to get this team ready to play. Because if you can't get ready to play in the Iron Bowl, then you got to really probably look at the entire big picture of what you're doing as a program. I mean, so to me, as I've said time and again already this morning, and I'll continue to say it, if you can't get ready to play Saturday, then you got to check yourself. What are you doing? What are you doing playing football at Alabama? What are you doing coaching football at Alabama? So, especially under the circumstances,
great. If we get in that Iron Bowl and we slop around and we don't look prepared to play, something's going to happen. I'm telling you. And if we lose that game, I don't think DeBoer is going to get blown out, but yeah, there's going to be some tough decisions to make. There is. Yep. I agree with that because we're obviously more talented. Well, Gary, buddy, hang in there and hope you have a good rest of the week.
Thank you, Tony. Good to hear from you. Okay, we need to get to a break. Cowboy, listen, if you and Super Joe go ahead and stay on hold, and Sam as well, we'll get to you. Ronnie Orr's been pushed back to 10:30. Casey Smith on golf at 10:15. So we'll try to finish up getting to all the calls in the next segment. If we can't, we'll get to them at the top of the hour. So we're going to get to you, callers. This is the Gary Harris Show on Tide 100.9 FM. And the YMCA of Tuscaloosa is ready for you when you're ready for the Y. 2300 13th Street. Get by and see them today. Become a member like I am and enjoy the benefits of your local YMCA. We'll be right back with more phone calls. Stay with us.
The Alabama Securities Commission protects you from financial fraud. Anyone asking you for investment money must be licensed. You're careful with your money. Fraudsters aren't. Before you invest, call our hotline at 1-800-222-1253 to verify the licensing of the person making an offer and the product. Don't lose.
.com or Town Square Media Tuscaloosa radio websites. Fill out the Advertise Here form. Put the power of Town Square Media to work for your business.
Covering University of Alabama sports, as well as the national and local scene as well. The Gary Harris Show, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, welcome back into the Gary Harris Show. We're going to get right back to phone calls. We've got Cowboy up next. So good morning, Cowboy.
How you doing, Gary? I appreciate your show. You got a
Thank
good show. No matter if it's hostile today or not, it's always a good show.
I just wish my voice was better, but we're getting through it. Actually, like I said, I feel better than I sound is the good news this morning. I felt horrible all weekend, and that game didn't help. But I feel much better today. I just still sound congested because I am. All right, man, what's going on?
Oh, not much. I'm not going to join in the fellowship of the misery because I've kind of seen this all year. I in my wildest dreams, that people that know me, I wouldn't have thought they'd have lost Saturday. But I did notice something when they ran on the field to start the game. Instead of just running to your sideline and we're here to take care of business, they run all down the Oklahoma sideline, prancing up their hands. And I don't know. We just do things that I haven't seen an Alabama football team do for the last 17 years. I understand it's a new way of doing things, but, you know, a good disciplined football team wins a lot of those kind of situations. You know, it is what it is. I'm kind of worried about how we're going to stop the Auburn running back with our best linebacker out. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, that you were there. You know, you experienced it. Let me ask you this. How did the Oklahoma – because, of course, I saw the field rush, and they rushed it early, which I don't understand a program of Oklahoma's tradition, rushing the field, beating a 3-loss team now. I don't get that. But how were the fans towards you? Were they cordial, or were they – what was that experience like?
I didn't see the rush in the field.
Okay, well, how did the Oklahoma fans treat you after the game?
I didn't want to deal with that. I will notice something about Oklahoma up there. We went to a nice restaurant before the game. Otella's, Barry Switzer hangs out in there. It's a nice Italian restaurant. My son likes pizza, so we got some pizza for the game. And it was really good. And but all they were showing in there were Big 12 games. And I said, hey, what about some SEC games? Texas, we don't show Texas, you know. And then they had Kansas, Colorado. Those people, I don't think they're really into the SEC thing, you know. And a couple, you know, one fan said we're into the Big One. That's us, you know. So it was a interesting deal.
Wow, interesting. And Cowboy, I don't think you heard me a while ago about how the fans, Oklahoma fans, treated you after the game. Did they treat you okay? All right, hold on. We're having an issue here. The callers can't hear me.
Here I am.
Okay.
And also, they gave some people awards during the game, and they were, you know, 20 years, 30 years service, Oklahoma, one military guy, and they're obsessed with doing the down 'em horn sign up there. And I mean, you know, it's fun against Texas, but why you just want to every time you go on the video board, turn a down 'em horn sign on? It's just,
yeah, that's their go-to. Yeah. All right, Cowboy, great call. For some reason, you can't hear me, and we got to hit a couple more calls anyway. Appreciate you. Let's get to Super Joe real quick. Hey, Super Joe, good morning.
Come on, Gary. How you feeling tonight, man?
I'm feeling better.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, but one thing I got to say about this loss, you know, to Oklahoma, I said, well, you know, it was disgusting. I was in a disappointed state, and I saw some things that just, you know, just did not straight up look, getting beat by second and third string. And then, you know, no rank came, and we have lost, losing to Vanderbilt. But this might have been a little worse, come to think of it, because this is a team that just came out the Big 12 and stepped in the SEC and came in and raised us in our own conference. I mean, not in our backyard, but, you know, and at the same time, you know, to be very mindful, every great coach that we had struggled their first year. I mean, look at Coach Saban. Okay, be mindful, and Coach Brian got 58, or was it 6-6 or whatever, and even Gene's Coach Stallings. I mean, so at the same time, I don't really want to criticize Coach Kalen DeBoer just now in the first year. I'm always.
Yeah, but they didn't take over programs like he took over. Coach Bryant took over a train wreck. even Coach Perkins after Coach Bryant's final year, they were 8-4. He walked in here to a program that just won the SEC championship, and played the college football playoff semifinal, and was the gold standard of college football. So let's not compare what he took over to what Nick Saban took over or some other coaches took over. He took over a much better situation.
Oh yeah, he did. He did take over a better situation. I'm gonna give you that. And because right now, I mean, I got to say this. So there's just, I mean, because I just don't know what. I mean, maybe when it's. I mean, even when these players are getting, I mean, I don't know what he said. We said we practiced and prepared extremely hard. I just don't know what could have just went foul like that. Because I mean, the way I see it, it was supposed to be 24-3 the other way around. I mean, the way the defense and our offense. I just didn't see how we could have regressed like we did. I mean, we're not playing the great Oklahoma team like in the old days. We did different ball games, but this loss was just unexcusable. Now, if we lose to the Iron Bowl, I'm telling you, I don't know what to say. We don't win this Iron Bowl. I don't know. We're gonna be playing for a stay-at-home bowl or sit you behind down bowl or whatever bowl. Whatever.
Well, all you're playing for right now is the Iron Bowl, and thank you for the phone call, Super Joe. I don't really understand why. I seem to be the only one that can realize. Everybody keeps talking about what we're playing for. Why is anybody worried about playing anything other than winning on Saturday? That's all anybody needs to be concerned about. I mean, I don't understand. I know the loss to Oklahoma was disappointing, but nothing else matters right now other than winning on Saturday. And I don't. I guess I'm frustrated that I don't hear that same sense of urgency from the fan base. There's a lot to play for. To win the Iron Bowl, to win the state championship of Alabama, there's been years where that's all you had to play for. And right now, in my mind, that's all you got to play for this year. But that's a lot to play for. So that's where the focus needs to be. The focus needs to be on winning the game on Saturday. And if you win that game, then everything else you can worry about afterwards. You can worry about the portal, and you can worry about recruiting, and you can worry about NIL, and you can worry about the playoff, and you can worry about all that. Well, after that, I think that the Alabama football coaches and players and fan base needs to come together and unite, because I guarantee you the team that's coming in here from Lee County on Saturday afternoon is going to have one mission, and that's to win the Iron Bowl. And if they do that, they get bowl eligible. But that's all that they're focused on right now. And Alabama needs to match that. All right, that's going to wrap it up for the first hour. It's been brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. All right, we're going to get to Sam. We're going to get to Scott from Virginia. And we'll have Casey Smith at 10:15, Rodney Orr at 10:30. And it's Iron Bowl week. So I think we've got to start looking ahead and putting that Oklahoma game in the rearview mirror, as bad as it was. Hour number 2 is coming up.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
College football season. And now is the time, though you have to have done your homework previously, but now is the time when the scouting really, really matters. Now you're getting to the big conference games, plus you had the bowl games, plus you have the Senior Bowl. You need to really have your evals. By my guesstimation, this is actually one of the real smart moves. They are going to drop the old napalm and start over. Right? Aaron Rodgers is not going to be back. They're going to have a new head coach. They're going to have a new general manager. They might well have a new logo next year. It's all going to look different. And with that, why would you give a guy a chance to see something when you haven't done the legwork of what changes you want to make along the path? And if you do it last week or 2 weeks...
Back, I think...
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen Report.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A nice warm up today. The sky partly sunny, the high 72. Becoming cloudy tonight. A good chance of showers, especially after midnight, the low 52. Tomorrow, showers ending during the morning. We could see some clearing by afternoon, the high 61. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 66 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The Gary Harris Show. UCM host Tider Insider TV, Crimson Tide Kickoff, play-by-play for Alabama sports, and sports director for WVUA 23. It's time for the Gary Harris Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, here we go. Hour number 2 of the Gary Harris Show, and catching everybody up. I stayed home all weekend and I didn't waste the beautiful weekend. I just couldn't get out. I planned to go to Livingston Saturday to watch the UWA Tigers in the Division II playoffs. They lost a heartbreaker 37-34 to Lenore Ryan. Then I planned to play golf yesterday. Didn't get to do any of that. I was stuck inside with a terrible head cold, and I'm not in the studio this morning. So we've had a couple of technical snafus, but I feel better than I sound. I actually do feel better, but I still have major congestion in my sinuses and forehead, so I know I sound a little rough. But appreciate your patience, and it's been a crazy morning already coming off what we saw on Saturday night in Norman. We've got Rodney Orr coming up at 10:30. We've rescheduled him after he had an issue, and Casey Smith at 10:15. Right now we're going to get back to our callers. We've got Sam from Tuscaloosa leading us off here in this second hour. Good morning, Sam.
Hey, Gary. I know it's not going very well, but anyway, you're absolutely right on we need to drop everything and just think about Auburn and get ready for that game and show up and get the win, period.
That's right.
Exclamation point. That will be the wound will be salved some. It's still a disappointing look at things, but we need to concentrate on Auburn, or you talk about chaos. We haven't ever seen chaos like it's going to be if we lose that game. And two things, and I'll be off, two things that I think would help every fan and the whole program is if Coach DeBoer would get mad on the sidelines at somebody and make, other than some scripted thing, I want him to get upset at the microphone after the game, after any game that we do not perform well. And secondly, I don't think we have any leadership on the team. Jalen, we all love Jalen, but he sits on the bench like a spoiled child, frowning. I mean, it's terrible for him to act the way he does when he is maybe the best quarterback in the nation, because when he's not doing well, he's the worst quarterback in the nation. We need team leadership to get in people's faces on the sidelines saying, let's go. Let's get together. He sits on the bench and frowns. It's been disturbing to me the whole year. And if nobody else is jumping up, if Jalen is not doing well, everybody tanks. And I'm tired of no leadership on the team. Maybe at times they have leadership, but in my opinion, they don't really. Anyway, I'm with you on Auburn. Let's go this weekend. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Sam. Good call. You make a lot of valid points. All the callers have made good points this morning, and I hate that the show's been a little bit scattered because of, like I said, I'm not in studio, but still, all of you have made really good points, and I understand the frustration. You can tell I'm frustrated. Like I said, I think for me, my focus though is because of what I believe the focus needs to be of the team is that what's happened to this point now is done. It's over. Those 3 losses, all of them still very frustrating. The most frustrating, of course, coming this past Saturday night, but they're over with. What's going to happen after Saturday? We don't know. We don't know what bowl game Alabama is going to be in, or if by some miracle they were to win Saturday and, there's still people that believe they can get in the playoff, but we don't know what's going to happen there. We don't know what's going to happen with the portal. We don't know what's going to happen with some of these NIL deals. We don't even really know what's going to happen in recruiting. The class looks really good on paper, but obviously there's been some flips both ways. Alabama's lost some and they've gained some, and you have to be able to, see what happens there. But we do know what's going to happen on Saturday. Alabama's going to play Auburn at a little after 2:30 at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And that, to me, is the singular focus of this football team and program. It needs to be on winning Saturday. Period. Because as some of you have pointed out, if you don't win that game, it's going to be a bad vibe surrounding this program. All right, let's get to Scott from Virginia. Hey, good morning, Scott. Thanks for holding.
Hey, Gary. I hope you feel better.
Thanks.
I just have an opinion or want your opinion on, do you think that Ryan Grubb would have made a big difference in this offense?
I do. I do. I mean, I think he is, he's an NFL offensive coordinator right now with the Seahawks. He did an incredible job with Washington. He's done an incredible job at other stops. He's more experienced. And I think Nick Sheridan is a talented young coach, and Kalen DeVore has said so. And I don't want to put all this on Nick Sheridan, but you asked the question, do I think Ryan Grubb would have made a difference with this team? And I do.
Yeah, and the second question is, there's been nobody that's like Jalen more than I and my family. But do you think that they're somewhat limited on what they throw or what they, put on him as far as play calling? And was all them quarterback runs his, or were they play calls?
That's a great question. Two-parter. I don't know. At times I've watched the offense and thought they're not limited at all. They've looked great. And, but I don't really know because I'm not a coach. I'm not inside the building. I don't know if what they're doing is what they want to do. As far as the quarterback runs, now I do think that I got an answer there. I think a lot of the times these are options. I mean, I don't think, I think he has the option. I'm not sure that they're RPOs, but I think they're options in the run game to either hand it off or pull it. And I think there are a lot of times when he's just giving it away. I mean, he's just deciding he's going to run before the snap, and he's not really giving the back an opportunity to be part of the play. And I think my point is that I'm not sure these are predetermined quarterback runs, but he's making them look like they're predetermined. And the problem is Oklahoma's film study was such that they took away some stuff that obviously the LSU coaches couldn't take it away, but they took it away. And he seemed lost back there in regards to not just in the passing game, but in the run game. I'm with you. I thought it was his poorest performance as an Alabama quarterback. I was a little surprised that after the pick six, he seemed rattled that they didn't, they being DeBoer, that DeBoer didn't take him out and put Ty in and just say, hey, Jalen, we want you to watch a series from the sideline. And then if Ty had performed really well, you could have stayed with him. And if he hadn't, you could have put Jalen back in. And then he went out for the one play after he got hit hard, and he came right back in. So I'm like everybody else. I thought in that circumstance, in that game, I would have at least looked at another quarterback. But, Coach DeBoer's in charge. He knows his team, and he decided to stay with Jalen. So it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. All right, Gary, thank you a lot.
Thank you so much. Great phone call. All right, let's get to Ellis. Hey, good morning, Ellis.
Good morning, Gary Harris. How
you doing, buddy?
You're doing, but I would ask how you're doing, but I can tell you're not doing too good this morning.
Well, as I said, there's good news. I feel a lot. Friday, I felt terrible all day at the TV station. Saturday, I felt awful. Yesterday, I felt a little bit better. And then today, I feel a lot better. I still just sound bad, but I feel better. So that's the good news.
Well, good news. The sun come up Sunday morning.
Yeah, it sure did. It sure did. And it's going to come up tomorrow morning. Came up this morning. It's going to come up Saturday morning. And it's going to come up next Sunday morning. But I guarantee you how Alabama fans feel about it coming up next Sunday morning is going to be in direct correlation to what happens on that field on Saturday afternoon. So Bama needs to get serious about it.
But what you've been saying this morning is so true. We need to quit worrying about playoffs and the ball game over the weekend. We got a very, very, very important ball game this weekend.
Absolutely, you're right, and I am right. You're right. I appreciate you saying that. I'm dead on because I've covered a lot of Alabama teams when all there was to play for was the Iron Bowl championship. I've covered Alabama teams that were underdogs to Auburn, and they're not. They're 11.5-point favorite on Saturday. I've covered Alabama teams where, like I said, there was nothing in the season but the Iron Bowl, and it meant everything. And the fact that now, for the last, Nick Saban era, it's been back to worrying about national championships and BCS championships and college football playoffs and SEC titles. This game, I'm not saying it's lost its luster, but right now, this needs to be what everybody is focused on. And I guarantee you, for the fans that aren't familiar with what this game's all about, lose it on Saturday, and you'll find out real quick. You'll find that for these young fans, lose that game on Saturday, and you'll find out why losing to Auburn is such a bitter pill to swallow. You'll get and I guarantee you'll feel differently about the Iron Bowl after that.
I got chills just keep talking about it, but yes, I mean, we don't want them to come in our house and beat us.
Absolutely not. Now, listen, this is a chance, literally, to put your thumb on them. Literally, because this would be 5 in a row. So you got 5 fingers on your hand. That's right. Tuberville said it. And this will be the first time that they've won 5 in a row over Auburn since Bryant was the coach. Last year was the first time they won 4 in a row over Auburn since Bryant was the coach. So it's a chance to go ahead and, if nothing else this season, reaffirm that Alabama is the dominant program in the state of Alabama. So get that win.
And I got faith in our coaches that they'll have them young men ready for this ball game this weekend.
Well, I'm with you because, like I said, if you can't get them ready to play on Saturday, then you gotta wonder what you're doing coaching, and if you can't get yourself ready to play, and the coaches can't get you ready to play, then I think you have to ask yourself, what are you doing at the University of Alabama?
Yes,
you can, because I guarantee you they're going to be ready to play.
Everybody out there listening, let's worry about the ball game this weekend. Just don't worry about nothing else but the Auburn game.
Thank you, Ellis. Good phone call. 10:15, we got to get to the timeout. When we come back, Casey Smith on golf. Lee Hodges had a chance to
100% satisfaction and appointments set around your schedule. Give us a call for all your steam cleaning needs. 205-553-9460. Houston Hydro Steam. Quality work you can stand on.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A nice warm up today. The sky partly sunny, the high 72. Becoming cloudy tonight. A good chance of showers, especially after midnight, the low 52. Tomorrow, showers ending during the morning. We could see some clearing by afternoon, the high 61. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 66 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Alabama Crimson Tide lives right here.
Down to the pylon. Touchdown, Alabama.
On Tide 100.9.
All right, 10:18. Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show. And we've had to wiggle the schedule around a little bit this morning. Rodney wasn't available in the first hour, and also we just got covered up with phone calls. So, but we're kind of back on track. We got Casey Smith on golf joining us. Also talk a little bit of Bama football with him as well. But good morning, Casey. How are you?
Doing great, Gary. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I've had a bad head cold, but I'm feeling a lot better today. Thank you. Hey, the RSM Classic was a really enjoyable golf tournament. I was able to kind of watch some of it yesterday since I've been stuck in the house all weekend and watch some football too. But Lee Hodges was in position to get a win, and unfortunately a bogey on 16 kind of derailed that. But still a top 5 finish for Lee, which is big for him and gives him a ton of momentum.
Yeah, I mean, he had congrats to Maverick McNeely first at all the 140.
Yeah, I'm going to get to Maverick in a minute, but I'm right now.
Lee is he definitely was in it. I mean, finishing fifth, 2 back, and bogeying 7 or 16. He made a turn at 3 under. I really thought he had a chance, and it's a crowded leaderboard of good players, but he helped himself and really improved. You know, earned a really big check first and foremost, and improved his position to finish the fall at 74 for the fall season. So safely in all of the big events for next year, and had a really good year. So I'm sure he's pleased with his finish on the year.
And Robbie Shelton had a very productive tournament. In fact, had a few productive tournaments in the fall. He has a T17 in this one, which really helped him a lot, didn't it, Casey?
Yeah, Robbie he moved up to 141, which is conditional card status. He was outside the top 150.
Right.
So he really helped himself a lot. And, you know, just want to keep giving yourself chances to play, have a job. And I think that's, you know, what he did. He seems to be missing, you know, that one thing to get him over the hump that a lot of guys out there on tour have, that sort of it factor. But if you're playing and you're finishing 17th in that event, and he shot 31 on the back 9, and he finished at -10 for the event, and he made a double on a really easy hole on the front at Sea Island on number 7. Not a hard hole to make a double on. I'm sure he's kicking himself, but that's sort of the story. Seems like every event, or you know, he has one really bad hole that cost him, and a couple of shots each tournament is a lot of money. And if you add that up, you know, if he removes probably half his doubles, he finishes in the top 125.
And Bud Colley had a T25. What is that? Of course, I know he's playing on conditional status, medical status. What does that do for him, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, he moved up to 152 on just the, you know, outside of the top, you know, top 125 to 150 or conditional 125, and then secure their card. And it will only get harder in the years to come. Bud still has 14 events left, so I think he's on a medical. He's going to be all right. He's really close to earning his cards. It goes off of points earned that year, the year he got hurt, to get your card. So if you earn that amount of points, you're good and exempt for the following year. So he'll have starts to make in the spring and throughout the year next year to earn his card in full.
Davis Riley missed the cut, but he's okay. You know, he's a tour winner from last season. But for Mullinax and Furr missing those cuts, both those guys, of course, you know, Mullinax trying to come back from medical issues, but they're not in really good shape as far as next season, are they?
They will be, you know, they'll have some status on the Korn Ferry Tour. Trey will, that's for sure, being a PGA Tour winner. And Wilson Furr will have to play his way in. I do not know if Trey has another start or two left medically. I think he's going to have to go back. What I last read, they keep that stuff really, really big secret. You know, it's hard to find and not much on it. And he's going to have status on the Korn Ferry Tour. And, you know, I mean, nothing for guys to go down and come back. He's one out there on tour, so he knows he can. But yeah, those guys, those are the two that really didn't help themselves down the stretch of the fall season and did not earn their full status for next year.
All right, now let's get to the top of the leaderboard, and you already alluded to this, but it was an exciting finish. And Maverick McNeely got his first win, but Luke Clanton, the amateur, who obviously is going to have to turn pro. I mean, he's been contending out of Florida State. He finished a shot back. Echevarria, who we saw beat Justin Thomas over in Asia, finished a shot back. Berger, who I was pulling for, finished a shot back. We mentioned Hodges among a group finishing 2 shots back, including JT Poston, who's one of the most popular players on tour. So it was an exciting leaderboard. But on 18, McNeely, who we know has a lot of talent, but had not won in 5 years on tour, hit his 6-iron in there at about 3 feet and made the putt to get the win.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to Maverick McNeely. Luke Clanton is definitely one of the storylines. He pretty much locked himself in to win the Hogan Award. And he had going into the week, he had 17 points and needed 20 to earn his card through PGA Tour U. Winning the Hogan Award is worth 3 points, and there's really no one else going to win it. He had 4 top 10s and 8 starts in the tour this year, including 2 runner-ups. The Hogan Award is given out in May, and Clanton would be eligible to take up PGA Tour membership the next month. So looks like you'll see him at worst case, unless I've read 2 things where potentially the tour is going to offer him a tour card. I mean, he's really earned what he would have earned a PGA Tour card this year had he been given money for those events. But we also have seen them not give that. Look at Nick Dunlap, the way that they were crediting it towards the FedEx Cup. They didn't give him those points either. So you never know what they're going to do, but it looks like pretty much guarantees he's going to win the Hogan Award, and 3 points short, and that gets him his PGA Tour card for next year. So he would be eligible to begin playing as a full-time member in June. But yeah, great leaderboard. Daniel Berger earned his card through playing really well on the comeback, and Maverick McNeely, who is one of the nicest guys out there and most intelligent, young guy who's very involved in the restructuring of. They've had him on a lot of these committees, and I read recently where he was actually redoing some of the points list for them, helping them. Just a great guy. Someone I've heard many times have aspirations to be a future tour commissioner. His dad, Scott McNeely, was a big CEO of Sun Systems. So congrats to him, and a really big leaderboard. I mean, it was stacked. There's not a lot of separation, and he made the birdie when it needed to happen. He birdied 18, and he to win by 1, or it would have been a 4-way playoff. So big for him to get his first win, 142nd start. Should open, maybe open the floodgates for him.
Maybe it will, because he's a very talented player. All right, I mentioned Nick Dunlap. You sent me a picture of him playing golf with President-elect Trump.
Yeah, Nick Dunlap played some golf this past week with President-elect Trump. I noticed he and Sam Burns, and he's had a whole host of those guys playing. Dustin Johnson, Austin Johnson, Bryson, Taylor Gooch. They all have played consecutive days for the new president-elect. And no more, we didn't see Nick anymore the rest of the fall, but, he'll be gearing up for a big year next year, finishing 49th on the FedEx Cup fall list, or in FedEx Cup for the whole year, and did not get points for a win, knowing that we both agreed that he should have made the President's Cup team. It was a no-brainer, and they just went straight chalk. So hopefully, he'll have a good year, and it'll lead to a Ryder Cup team.
And Casey, lastly, it's Iron Bowl week, and right now I think it's been my mission on this show to get everybody excited about the Iron Bowl, and I think fans have been spoiled a little bit by Nick Saban, but this game, you and I remember when it meant everything to Alabama, and it should mean everything this year, because with what happened this past Saturday night in Norman, to me, this is it. I mean, I know people are still trying to come up with a way to get in the playoff and all that, but you're not going to Atlanta for the SEC championship game. I don't think Alabama's going to the playoff regardless, and we know they won't go if they lose this game. This is the game that Alabama, for whatever has happened to this point and whatever's going to happen after Saturday, to me, none of that matters right now. This team needs to be focused on one goal, and that's to win that Iron Bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest game of the year, biggest game of both, our lives. You don't have to go back far to where it really meant something. When we win a national title in 2009, they win 1 in 10. We go back to back. After that, it was probably at the heighten of hate forever at that point, and that's not that long ago. And I tell you, if you really you don't get focused to win this game, you give up recruiting ground. You'll give up, in today's world, as fast as everything moves, you give up a lot. And if you think people are upset now, wait, if you lose that game, some are really upset. I do think there is some, probably some people have gotten spoiled and accustomed to winning through what Coach Saban had built. But, still got to go out there and take care of business against Auburn. You can't lose this game. It's a must-win game. If you want to have any chance to get in the playoffs, I don't think we're going to make the playoffs, but we certainly have to have some help. But it doesn't really matter if you don't win the game. So I'm with you. The focus is winning, beating Auburn, and trying to build for next year with a second year with Coach DeBoer.
That's right. Have some positive momentum if you win this game, and if you don't, it's going to be rough. Hey, thank you, Casey.
Thanks, Gary.
Or enjoy free shipping to your home on purchases over $25. Your new Academy Sports and Outdoor store is located at 4610 U.S. Highway 280 in Birmingham.
You see him on WVUA 23 covering sports and on Tider Insider TV on Tuesday nights. Don't miss a minute of the Gary Harris Show. Weekdays from 9 to 11 on Tide 100.9.
All right, 10:32, 28 minutes in front of the hour of 11 o'clock. And Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com, Tider Insider TV, joins us now to talk Bama football. Good morning, Rodney.
Good morning, Gary. How are you?
Well, I'm feeling better. Don't sound better, but I'm feeling better. But Saturday night, I think about 10 o'clock, not many people that follow Alabama or pull for Alabama were feeling very well at all. Before we look ahead to the Iron Bowl, which is the biggest game of the season. Let's be clear on that, particularly now. But what you saw Saturday night in Norman, just you've had time to look back at it and think about it. It was an embarrassing performance by an Alabama football team that had everything to play for. What are your takeaways 2 days later?
Yeah, I have thought about it a lot, actually. And it was really a stunning performance. And I say stunning as in stunningly poor. I'm not telling anyone something they don't know. Everyone watched it. I don't know. I've really thought a lot about, some of the past years, some of the past first years of coaches, head coaches, and this kind of thing. Let me be clear. I'm a really big Kalen DeBoer guy. I like Kalen DeBoer. I think he's a fantastic coach. That's nothing about this. But as you look at it, Gary, that is as poorly of a prepared football team as I've seen Alabama. I'm not saying it's the worst, but it certainly ranks up there for that particular game. I look at Bill Curry's first year in 1987. It kind of mirrors it a little bit. Curry beat Penn State. He gets smoked by Florida the next week. He loses to Memphis State, and he goes out and he pulls off a big upset over Tennessee the next week. Later in the season, they go down to Baton Rouge, nobody giving Alabama a chance. They beat LSU down there. Next week, they go to Notre Dame and get hammered. It's just kind of those inconsistencies. Those things can happen in the first year. I get that. But this was just a performance where Alabama's on both sides of the ball. I mean, it's inexplicable. You can't explain it. It's how does this happen? After they had played the 12 quarters of the best football of the season, I think on a consistent basis. They had not turned the ball over. They'd created 9 turnovers. They turned it over none in the previous 3 games. They go in this game, they turned it over 3 times. They do get a turnover, but again, I mean, I'm kind of at a loss for words for why this happened, but it just looked like a really unprepared football team.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. You made 87. I hadn't really thought about it, but you're right. That team had some really big wins that year and some really disappointing losses, much like this season. You mentioned the lack of preparation, and I want to ask you, too, about the lack of in-game adjustments. It's a 10-3 game at half, and you got the ball coming out. And they try to throw that wide receiver screen that hasn't worked all year for some reason, and the kid jumped the route. He read it, film study. They were ready. Milroe threw it right to him. Then later he threw a horrible pick six. There didn't seem to be any adjustments in what they were trying to do offensively. And, of course, with Milroe's poor performance, I thought it was the worst game he's ever played at Alabama. No thought to giving Ty Simpson an opportunity. I mean, he came in for the one play where Jalen got hurt, and Jalen came right back in. I want you to address that, the lack of adjustments in the game, and not trying another quarterback in the game when Jalen Milroe was obviously struggling to play well.
I thought with about 8 minutes in the third quarter, when they got the ball back after the second interception, it was, to me, it was, okay, we don't necessarily have to bench Jalen Milroe, but how about we take him out for a series or two, put Ty in, see how Ty responds. If he responds, produces, Alabama scores some points, then maybe you stick with him. If not, you can say, look, Jalen, we're going to sit you down. We're going to, kind of get a better feel for things, calm down a little bit, and you can always put him back in. I thought that was the time to do it. But you know what? He decided to stick with Milroe at that point. It is what it is. There was some really kind of, first of all, that throw, and I know a lot of people blame Kobe Prentice for missing the block, but I mean, again, I know it's a bang, bang throw. You got to get it out of your hands, but I mean, you see the crimson jersey there. You got to look, and it's not Alabama crimson, it's Oklahoma. All right, so that, you got to make an adjustment there, not throw that ball. That's just my opinion. I think another, obviously the pick six, I think the bigger problem with that one is, all you got to do is push the guy out of bounds to give your defense at least a chance, right? I mean, and you kind of slide and try to trip the guy. I mean, I'm wondering, as the leader of this team, what does that really say? I mean, so to me, that's the time when you say, hey, Jalen, no, we're going to have to sit down. But, again, it didn't happen. You talked about it being 10-3. It's still a ball game at that point when, still very much a ball game. You hadn't played well, but you still got a great opportunity to win the game. And then you get those two picks and it's basically over. Now, let's also say this. Let's go back to the beginning of the game. There were some opportunities. Jalen made some nice throws. C.J. Dupree dropped a couple. Unfortunately, Ryan, stepped out of bounds there. He's made a great play, but they, overturned the touchdown. You kicked the field goal. There were some things that happened, some drop balls. Jeremy Bernard lost one in the lights, So there were some things that went against them that really were tough breaks as well. I get that. But you know what? 17 years around here, all we heard from Nick Saban was, how are you going to respond to adversity? And with this team really in this game did not, and we saw it against Vanderbilt, we saw it against Tennessee. They're not responding to adversity really well. And you know what? You keep waiting. Somebody mentioned this to me, called me and said, you keep waiting for kind of the switch to flip in these games. Because we saw it, we've seen it so many times when Alabama maybe hasn't played well, and then all of a sudden that one play kind of gets them going, gets it turned around, and they win the game and whatever. We just don't see that this team in these situations. They just seem to almost, go completely in the tank mentally. And I think before you ask me about Auburn, that's what I think about Auburn this upcoming game. Where's Alabama mentally? What's the mindset? I think that's the biggest challenge this week.
All right, I don't want to let the defense off the hook from the Oklahoma game completely either. Although in the second half, to be honest with you, Oklahoma didn't do much on offense, but they didn't have to. In the first half, though, they ran for 206 yards with a quarterback who is known more for his arm, and they just kept running the same play with the quarterback run, and Alabama couldn't get off the field again on third down. They really didn't stop that running play, and I just thought that the defense, just like what you're saying to piggyback on the offense, they didn't seem to have a good plan and seem prepared and ready to go either.
No, it really was. I mean, Oklahoma came in SEC play averaging 15 points a game. Now, I understand their defense generated a lot of these points. I get that. But how did they possess the ball? How did they run it for 260 yards without really having much of a passing game? They passed for 68 yards in the game, okay? I think I would have tried to give up something in the passing game just to shut down this run. Because, I mean, if you stop – Jackson Arnold's we said this last week. He's a capable runner, not a great runner, a capable runner. He's really more of a passer coming out of high school. He ran for 131 yards. I'd have never dreamed that. How can you not stop the simple quarterback run, whether it was up the middle, on the ends, on the edges? There was nobody out there. It looked like, some of these defensive linemen, the outside was crashing down and there was nobody on the edge to protect the edge. There was just a lot of things. And it makes you wonder, this is really a simple, basic offense that they were running with a quarterback who's not, he's not as good as Peyton Thorne as a runner, which is coming up Saturday. Again, all due respect, he is a decent runner. But, how do you not stop some of these basic plays? They're not even really challenging you with the pass. And again, I'm not really trying to sound negative, Gary, but it was that kind of performance. It was just that kind of performance.
You don't have to worry about sounding negative, Roddy, because if you just be honest and unbiased in your evaluation, which is what you're doing, it's going to be negative because it was a negative performance. There's just no other way around it. And even Burnip had his worst game. Even the putting game was awful.
Yeah.
You turn the page though, and Alabama fans are different now. We know that. They were dogging out how bad Oklahoma looked, or Alabama looked against Oklahoma. But then I went out on social media and just said, "Hey, you don't have to worry about the playoff. You don't have to worry about playing in Atlanta for an SEC championship." Boy, they came after me in a heartbeat. Oh, we're still in the playoff hunt. Oh, we still can make the playoff, which I just found hilarious. But I know this. Who knows? It's a crazy year. You win the Iron Bowl, maybe somehow you can get in. But I know this. If you don't win that game, you're not going anywhere other than a bowl game that nobody's going to care about. So to me, it all comes down to this now. And if you can't get yourself as an Alabama football player or staff member or coach focused in on one thing, and that's winning on Saturday, then you got issues here. I don't care about what's going to happen in the portal. I don't care what's going to happen with NIL. I don't care what's going to happen in recruiting. To me, right now, there's a singular focus. And if you can't come together for 1 week as a football player and a team, and the coaching staff can't say, give us 1 week, we'll worry about everything else on Sunday, and get dialed in to win this game, then there's bigger problems than just losing to Oklahoma in an embarrassing performance. Everything should be put on hold now other than this game, Rodney. You and I know what it means. We covered a lot of Alabama teams where all there was the Iron Bowl. There wasn't a chance to win an SEC championship or even sometimes even go to a bowl game. But there was this game. And Auburn is going to they're going to bring it. They're coming up here to win. So I say all that to get to your reaction to the fact that right now there should be a singular focus with Alabama football, and that's to win that game on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. Well, I think, you mentioned the craziness of this year, and you just think back a couple of weeks earlier. I mean, just look at how it's changed. Ole Miss really probably beats Kirby as badly as he's been beaten, since maybe his first year. And they storm the field. 2 weeks later, here Georgia's sitting pretty. They're going to the SEC championship game. Ole Miss loses to Florida. They're out of the playoffs probably. Alabama 2 weeks ago beats LSU. Jalen Milroe has this tremendous game, and now they go to Oklahoma and lose that game. So this is a crazy year. So I only say that to say, as we head into this week, frankly, to me, it doesn't look good for Alabama. It looks much better for Auburn. They've been a beat-down football team. They've lost some games. They found ways to lose games that they probably should have won, could have won. And so things hadn't gone well for them most of the season. And they had that was a mentally tough game to beat Texas A&M the way they did. So they've got to be feeling a lot better about themselves right now. Mentally, I think Auburn's got a really big edge right now, the way they're coming into this game. I think Alabama, on the flip side of it, you lost a lot in that Oklahoma game. Not that it's not potentially possible that they could go to the playoffs or whatever, but like you said, that's the last thing on your mind. So Kalen DeBoer right now has to figure out, how am I going to get the attention of my players? How am I going to get them to play, to focus in, like you're talking about? How can we focus in? This is a different time. These players, they don't care about Auburn, or Auburn players maybe don't necessarily care about Alabama like it used to be. It's different. The game has changed. The mindset has changed. All of that's changed. So I really wonder how Alabama's going to if Kalen DeBoer can get this team off the mat and respond on Saturday, to me, in a real positive way, then he's done a heck of a job getting that team mentally turned around, because I think it's going to be a real challenge.
I'm with you, and I agree with everything you said, but I think it also is a challenge, and it does speak to what he is going to be able to do here as coach.
Absolutely.
It is just one game, and I'm not saying if he loses this game that long term he won't be successful. I'm not saying that, Rodney, but in the short term, if you lose this game in one season, you have lost to 3 unranked teams. Nick Saban lost to 3 unranked teams in 17 years. You have lost the first Iron Bowl in Tuscaloosa in 14 years, and you have lost the first Iron Bowl period since 2019. My point is, in the short term, you're going to lose your fan base if you lose this game on Saturday. So I agree with you that it's a challenge, but that's why he's paid $10 million. And if you can't get them ready to play in this game at home with what's on the line, then I do have to question whether or not you're going to be successful here as a head coach. Now, you may not agree with that analogy, and I'm not asking you to, but I am asking you to react to what I just said and how this is one game, but big picture, I think this game means a lot to his future here at Alabama.
Oh, I mean, no doubt. I mean, look, you've got so many things now, the way it's changed. You've got the portal. I mean, you got guys that can jump in the portal. You've got teams that are coming after your guys already. They've already got offers on the tables. I'm not speculating. This is a fact. Okay? There's already teams recruiting your players. That is a fact. You know, and this doubt is created now about the direction of the program. And you lose again, that's more negativity. I mean, it's just a lot of negativity. You know, Kalen DeBoer, like I said, he's got a real challenge on his hands. Get his players ready, and then he's going to have more even after this game. So, yeah, he's in a real difficult spot here with where they are. And it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how they respond to it. It is. And right now, I just say that with all that said, you kind of look at what Auburn does offensively. You know, they do a lot of things that have hurt Alabama this year. They do a lot of those things. They can really run the ball well. Thorne's a good runner. Alabama's had trouble defending running quarterbacks or guys that are average running quarterbacks for whatever reason. A lot of confusion defensively, it seems like. So you're going to have Jarquez Hunter. Now they're throwing the ball better. Cam Coleman's had a big month this month. So their receivers are coming around. So a lot of things kind of coming together for them right now heading into this game. So how do you defend them with this defense that's been, like I said, I mean, I don't know. It looks like it was making a lot of improvement, then all of a sudden it's not. But look, and again, I go back to the Missouri game. And I understand Brady Cook was injured. He started the game, though, and Alabama kind of knocked him out. Again, he already had a little bit of an injury. But Alabama came out. They came after him. They were aggressive. I didn't see that in the first part of this last game. But they were coming after Brady Cook. And, they had a really great game. So you thought they were making a lot of progress. But I think that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to stop the run game first and foremost. And then defensively, Auburn's pretty good. DJ Durkin's done a great job there with their defense. They're one of the top defenses in the country in terms of the rush, against the run. So, like I said, just on in the mind and on the field, it's going to be this game a week ago. If we'd have asked about it, we'd have said no. We feel a lot more confident about it than we do this morning.
Yeah, we would have. But the flip side of everything is if you do win that game, I know it doesn't make up for the 3 losses, but if you win it, and as you've already pointed out, this past Saturday was crazy. Ole Miss lost, A&M lost, Colorado lost. If you win the game and crazy things happen, who knows? Maybe you do still get in the playoff. But I know this.
Absolutely.
If you win the game, Rodney, the tenor around here is going to be much different than it is right now. It will be some sap on the wound. And if you lose it, it's going to be miserable. So that's what you're up against now. And as we are talking about and discussing, I mean, it comes down to this game. And winning this game would get – I'm not saying things would be back on track, but it would be very helpful to Kalen DeBoer in Alabama football.
There's a lot of things that could happen. I mean, there's still a lot of things that can happen that could change the complexion of everything. And you win this game, you could get back in the playoff picture, which would be really good. And because there are so many things that have happened. It's not just Alabama that's been up and down. There's
right.
A lot of teams that have been up and down. I don't know if this is a sign of things to come from here on out, or what. But it's definitely, we've seen this across college football.
Great analysis as always, Rodney, and we'll have much more, of course, tomorrow night on Tider Insider TV at 6:30, and of course, I know you'll have. I didn't want to go out on your board Saturday night after the game because I just wasn't in the mood for it. But I know I can only imagine what it's been like since that game and what it's going to be like this week.
Yeah, it's been crazy, but it's TiderInsider.com. It's only $48 a year, and you can get instant access with your credit card if you prefer. There is an address there to send a check. Gives you all our premium information, but also it's our all sports forum. I've been on there a lot, kind of like this, Gary. Asking questions, answering questions from different members and so forth. A lot of great discussion there, a lot of great opinions and so forth.
And Christmas is right around the corner for Alabama fans looking for a gift. Your book is still available, and I know it's gotten rave reviews. If somebody wants to pick up a copy of the book for Christmas, how do they do that?
Yeah, kind of hard to believe, Gary. It's almost been out a year now. But bigger than Bama. Yeah, it'll be a great Christmas present. You can go to RodneyOrr.com, or you can go to Amazon. Either one. It details the book there, and, you can certainly order it there.
All right. Thanks a lot, Rod.
Okay. Take care.
All right. 10:53, and we got to take our final break. Before we do, though, lunch is coming up, and why not check out Who's Q and Brew in the Northridge Center off Highway 82 in Tuscaloosa, and they're open for lunch 7 days a week, dinner 6 days a week. They're only open until 2 o'clock on Sunday, but daily lunch specials, evening drink specials. They have all kinds of entertainment with Buzz Time trivia, live music.
And she'll love it.
I'm Tom Osmond, your jeweler at Fincher & Osmond Jewelers. Not so easy to find on McFarland, between Edgar's and local routes.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow trucks, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's Move Over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the road.
And food for half price will be available starting this Friday morning at 8 a.m. Log on to Tide109.com and click Seize the Deal for more details.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A nice warm up today. The sky partly sunny, the high 72. Becoming cloudy tonight. A good chance of showers, especially after midnight, the low 52. Tomorrow, showers ending during the morning. We could see some clearing by afternoon, the high 61. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 70 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Never miss a moment of the action. Download the free Tide 100.9 app today.
All right, 10:56 here on the Gary Harris Show. And time to wrap it up for this edition. We've got T-Town Sports Daily coming up here at the top of the hour. Be back with me tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Hopefully I'll have my voice 100% back. I'm feeling a lot better, so we look forward to that. And Iron Bowl week here at Alab at 100.9 FM at 12:30 a.m. WTVC. Catch me on TV tonight with the local sports on WVUA 23. For Chase Brumfeld, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great Monday.